Start. All right, I have your name and title, so I'm not going to go through that whole rigmarole. We'll just get started with the questions. So first of all, why don't you tell us what happened yesterday for those who are facing repayment for some other unemployment benefits?
Absolutely. Yesterday, we were pleased to see the Department of Labor issue additional guidance as it relates to potential waiver options for overpayments. And we are grateful, for Governor Whitmer's efforts here and reaching out to the Department of Labor and really expressing the concern that so many of us have and so many Michiganders have about these overpayments they face.
So what does somebody who has one of these letters, what do they need to know right now? I see there are 5 categories, and they're kind of, they seem a little complex.
They are. So right now, if an individual has received an overpayment letter, they don't need to take additional steps other than to maybe monitor their MyWAM account from communication for our office. As you referenced, these new additional blanket criteria provided by the Department of Labor, they are complex. So complex that, we are taking our time to, dive in and evaluate the criteria and to determine which groups of claimants might be eligible for a waiver under one or more of the criteria. So right now, they just need to be patient and have confidence that we are very excited about this additional guidance and are working quickly to evaluate where waivers are appropriate.
Okay, it's definitely good news because obviously we've talked to many people who have bills for like $20,000, $40,000 in repayment, and they were just doing what they thought they needed to do at the time. We were all kind of in this chaotic mode during the pandemic, especially at the beginning. So, I mean, what do you have to say to them, the people who have just been so stressed out about this?
Certainly. And we recognize, right, there are Michiganders who were applied for benefits, right? And we know that guidance was sometimes difficult to understand. And we want to make sure that those who are doing the right thing aren't penalized. And so, again, like we said, this is encouraging news to have this additional guidance from our federal partners. We're excited about the effort that has been put forth in providing this additional guidance. So we ask them just to hold tight, right? To have confidence that we are going to be able to review their claims and each of those categories and make sure that we can apply them and really impact for good as many Michiganders as possible. And we know that, just as they are eager to be able to dig into these and to find out if they are, if they're going to get a waiver and when, we are as eager as they are and are working literally around the clock to get these evaluated.
So is there potential, because I know there was state benefits and then there was the pandemic money, is there a potential that some people will only see some of their the amount that they're asked to repay cut, or is it all or nothing with a waiver?
I think it's probably a little too soon to make that generalization at this point. What we can, the one category we can say is certainly we are, for those that acted in good faith, we are evaluating all of the waiver options that are available. So we received these additional 5, blanket options. There are some other options in which a claimant might receive a waiver. And we are looking at that broad universe and to see, again, if an individual might qualify in some circumstances for one or more of these criteria.
So, I had a question about the process. So no one really has to log on right now and answer any of the letters or
correct.
Respond.
The process, it's not as though at this time anyone needs to apply for the waiver. This is a matter, of course, of us evaluating the overpayment claims that we have in the different categories and making determinations about which claims fall into which potential category and blanket waiver option. So no proactive steps other than just to, monitor their MyWAM accounts, make sure they're up to date in case we do send some communication out.
Do you anticipate having to hire additional people to review all these
Claims?
situations? Yeah, claims.
No, we don't. We know that we have the staff that we need. We are relying upon our partners across the state, working with, for instance, our partners at the Department of Technology Management Budget, who have helped provide us with that technical support. We might need to, make any changes to the system to implement these waivers, but we don't anticipate needing to hire.
And when you say check in, what would you recommend people check in their computers once a week on their accounts?
That's a good process. And keep in mind, if we are aware that we're going to be sending out some larger communication, we'll certainly issue a release as well and make those types of updates on social media. But I think as far as a matter of good course, checking in once a week with their MyWAM account, I think is good sense.
Okay, I know I heard an alarm go off, but just want to ask, anything else you think is important to get out there?
I don't think so. I think, what I just want to emphasize is that they can have confidence that they don't need to rely. They don't have a responsibility on themselves to submit some type of application for these waivers. They can trust that we are, reviewing these, looking at all of the different criteria and making evaluations about which groups, of claimants might, fall into a certain bucket that a waiver would be applicable for. So just needs to hold tight, right? Periodically check in with your MyWAM account in case there is communication that is set out, but just be patient because there's nothing that they need to do at this time as we are going through this evaluation process.
I apologize quickly. Did I ask about a timeline? Did I ask you about?
No, you didn't. And I think, at this point, we have the utmost urgency in reviewing these. I think I referenced earlier that we are literally working around the clock to consume this. The guidance that came out from our federal partners was 40 pages. So this isn't a very, this isn't a small amount of material that we need to consume and analyze. There's lots of detail and lots of criteria that we want to make sure we're applying appropriately. And, we're interpreting the guidance that we've received correctly. So as we get closer and we're able to implement some of those waivers, we will make sure to communicate that with the public.
So no guess, 6 months, 3 months?
No, I don't have any timelines at this point I can share.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, but this is important information to share with our viewers. So thank you.
Absolutely. And Chris, thank you for that chance.
Sure. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris.